going on, DGen Nation? Kenny came here bringing you another Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast this week for the Tour Championship. As usual, I am here with everybody's favorite South African, Byron Lindeque. I almost said Tyler Tambley. Byron Lindeque, what is up, my friend? It was a long weekend.
Hey, Kenny, that's okay. You know, it's always fun to be on the show with you and doing our thing. It's a nice little kickstart to my week-long activities. So I'm just excited to hear what's going on in your life. I'm excited to see why you almost called me Tyler after half a year of this show. There's a lot going on. And, you know, some people aren't a fan of the FedEx Tour Championships, but hey, you know, we got to make some bets and win some money.
There you go. So our pod is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Go to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Mayo. Get a deposit bonus up to $250. We're also sponsored by kickbackgolf.com. I'm wearing the Jason Day Australia basketball jersey. I swear it has his name on the back. I don't want to move from my chair because I had a very, very long weekend. For some reason, I am sore. I didn't really do anything, but I am very, very sore this weekend, after this weekend. A good weekend, though. Let's talk about the golf first. I did not watch any until yesterday. I was in Atlantic City. I did, catch up on the replays, look through some stats and stuff like that. And, Keegan Bradley, pretty nice win by him coming in through, being the 51st person in the FedEx Cup standings until Tom Kim went 666, number of the beast, on the last three holes at the BMW to get Keegan into spot 50. So Keegan owes Tom something. They own something.
Lots. At least $550K.
Yeah, he'll probably see him in a couple of weeks at the President's Cup. Tom, he'll be like, yo, you need to hook me up with something. Especially if Keegan goes on to win the Tour Championship. We see crazy shit happen. We see people get hot at this time of year and stay hot and win it and be like, how the fuck did they win the Tour Championship? So, good win by him. A couple other guys. Pretty bad last couple of weeks for my fade of the week. Last week was, of course, Hideki. He won when I, had him as one of my core plays and dropped him. This week I had Aberg. I thought he was going to hit a rookie wall. He finished in second. Good round by Oberg, sorry. It was a beautiful course. You got to say, from a viewpoint on the television, because, it was on in the background while we were drinking and doing our drafts and stuff like that. The course looked masterful, but I didn't get to watch too much of it. What did you think of the event?
No, what Keegan did was impressive. I think he was one of the few guys entering the final round. He hadn't made a double yet. I think everyone in the top five, the other five guys, had made a double. Ludwig had made 3 doubles and 3 eagles or something. Crazy. Yeah. This course was.
It reminds me of like 3M, right?
Yes.
Like birdies and train wrecks, right?
Yeah. So if you could get rocking and rolling, you were good to go. Max Griesemann coming in at like 33%, 27% as a $6,700, $6,300 golfer or whatever last week. After he was DFL after round 1, he was in the winning Millie Maker lineup. Yeah. Still, where is the freaking justice? Where is the justice for not being a square? But hey, it is what it is.
One of my cash game cornerstones, the only thing I won this week was DFS.
My cash lineup. Cash is fine. I'll take the Griesemann square there. It's basically a free square in cash. But it was a crazy thing to see him. He made a massive comeback, had streaks, had all that crap. He did that same thing last week. That's why I took him.
Yeah. Like he did it on Sunday where he shot like 63 or on Sunday or something last week and, made it to the top 50, I think, or it was inside or was close. But yeah, he came through. The cash game cornerstones were fine. Xander finished 5th. Wyndham fell back a little bit. Billy Horschel, I think, was top 20. Grayson was in there. So that was the only thing I won. I lost. I only had 3 bets. So those didn't hit. The Wyndham Clark not getting the each way hurt with that triple on, 14, something he had to really ruin his chances at the placement points, but whatever. And then I was only allowed to play 1 round of underdog because New Jersey does not allow underdogs. So
yes.
I lost $150 there. Well, how'd you do? What else did you notice?
Yeah, the opening round of underdog was rough. I think Ludwig cashed the over, which was the one contrarian play, and then all the other guys that were supposed to go way deep in the 60s just turned out the course changed up a bit. Pretty quickly. I think a lot of the interviews, the guys were saying course was playing soft and easy early in the week, and then just that dry Denver air just soaked up all the moisture and boom chakalaka. We got like a major type venue. What I do want to mention, Ludwig Oberg, right in the hunt again. And this is the 8th consecutive round 4 that he's failed to gain more than 1 stroke on the field. It goes back to the Masters. That's how long ago it's been since Ludwig has actually gained more than a stroke in round 4, aka a Sunday. So he's got the Sunday scaries in a big way at the moment. Kind of worried about him. Rory McIlroy threw his driver in the water and broke his driver in the same tournament. So he's got that going for him. I think
he played a lot better.
Honestly.
He played better.
Yeah.
I mean, after what happened the week before, I mean, anything could have happened with Rory. He could have withdrew. He could have, I mean, who knows where his mind is at this point in time. But, I mean, just looking at his score, I mean, the dude was, I think he finished top 10, right?
Rory?
I thought so.
Where did he finish?
Did he fade on Sunday?
He finished 11th. So yeah, he's right in the in the mix there.
Yeah, just right around there. I don't think he's going to catch Keegan, but I mean, he showed a little bit better form and something to look at this week since his history at Eastlake is so good.
Yes, sir. I think we can get into all of that too. I think Tommy Fleetwood with the classic, the office Angela on Dwight's left shoulder there. Kind of where did Tommy Fleetwood come from? T5. Sahith Theegala is broken, Kenny. What's going on with Sahith? The guy's just rattling off finishes of disgusting proportions. So,
I haven't used him in months. I haven't used him in months.
Yeah. So needs to figure his stuff out there. But we'll see. Interesting names. I've bet Scotty Scheffler top 5 as well. What, you think he's injured or you think he just couldn't handle the altitude?
I don't know. It's really something to see because we're not really going to get a good answer this week either because, I mean, in the last, with the people that have played in this event, he's not even in the top 10 in strokes gained total at Eastlake, with the field that we have this week. So, I mean, he's not even in the top third of people who have good course history here. So he struggled at this event. And I thought it was good that he came out last week and talked about the Tour Championship and he doesn't really like it. And, it makes sense for him because he's been number 1 3 years in a row now. And he hasn't won the event. Now, is that really unfair? Did he play poorly at the end of the season? Yeah, that's what happened. You play poorly at Eastlake, you should lose. I mean, we can let's move on to what we think we should do to fix it. I mean, I don't know if there's a fix. I don't mind what I see. I mean, it makes sense. It gives the golfers who've had the good year-long tournament, an advantage, a pretty fucking big advantage. All right, if you're first, you got 2 strokes on second place. I mean, that's nothing to scoff about, right? You got 10 strokes on guys from 15 to 30 or whatever that number is, right? So, I mean, I think it's fine now, but I know people don't like it. I think a lot of people want to throw in some match play. I mean, I think that what you need to do if you're going to do a match play type situation is you're going to make this tournament, right? And then it's not going to be over after this week. You have the top 8 make it to the following week, okay? Saturday and Sunday only, right? And they play in a match play championship for it all, like the weekend golf spectacular, just Saturday and Sunday. There is no football next week, right? This weekend, so they could do it. If they plan it out right, they could do it this weekend coming up. And I think, maybe have the top 8 that finish in the FedEx Cup standings after, and you make it like a normal stroke play event, right? You get your points, you get all that stuff for the Tour Championship. And you wouldn't call it the Tour Championship. You'd make it like Eastlake or something like that. And then the top 8 who finish after that week, they go to the next week, whatever tournament, whatever, maybe go back to Austin, whatever. And then the top 4 get to pick their opponents in the first round. Scotty's number 1. He gets to pick anybody he wants. In the bottom 4, the second place gets to pick anyone in the bottom 4, and then they'll all play Saturday, match play all day. 4 matches, right? Sunday, the Sunday they'll go out. It'll be the semifinals in the morning, and then in the afternoon it'll be the finals. But the afternoon will have battle the 3rd place match, the 5th place match, and the 7th place match. So you have 4 different, matches to watch where the TV can flip from back and forth, and it can make it a little bit better than just a one man or two person two matchup match play event. So because there won't be that much TV, you'd have to wait. There'll be a lot of pause. You might be able to work it out where you get 4 matches on, you can see everything. Everyone battles for first, third, fifth, and seventh. And something like that. I mean, I honestly don't mind the way it is now, but that's something if you wanted to add match play and still make it very, very fair for the top guys.
Yeah, I think the match play thing is definitely, it needs to be included. Match play is, by definition, basically what golf started off as, is like one golfer playing the other guy. And we're not even getting that on the PGA Tour. Like they took it off the schedule, and who gives a shit about the random, cognizant classics and things like that? Give us a match play event again. We want those. If this is a really random situation, but if we did do no match play for the Tour Championships, like in Formula One, you get DRS boosts, where if you're behind someone, you can hit a button and it boosts it decreases the drag on your aerodynamics, so you go faster down the straights. I think they should include something like that for if you're outside the top 15 or the top 10 on the leaderboard, you can hit a DRS button or a boost button, and whatever you score for the next 9 holes, it's doubled. So if you suck it up, you're out. You're like, it is what it is. But if you crush those 9 holes,
so like a super press.
A super, like a press.
Like a super press. Yeah, okay.
And it can be graduated, or, I love making rules, so I could make up a big old concoction of rules for this thing. But simply to put it this way, give the guys that are sitting 10 shots behind the world number 1 golfer some ammo to kind of fly up the leaderboard quickly if possible. If you make a double while you're pressing, that's basically a quad. If you make an eagle, you 4 under on that hole. So It has to be for a certain amount of holes. I would say we can figure out the amount, but I think that would be fun, and it could allow guys to get in the mix quite quickly out of nowhere.
Like if a golfer gets super hot, all of a sudden he feels it. How when you're on the course, sometimes you're just flushing balls. When you're hitting the ball right off an iron, it doesn't even feel like you're making contact, right? It's just going off the ball or going off the club plates, and you barely even feel it. If a pro hits pros do that all the time, but if they start doing that every single hole for 3-4 holes in a row, well, maybe now I should try the press. It'll be a super strategy type game. I mean, for me, I would want to play 18 on the course, maybe play 9 in the morning on the second round, maybe do it during the second round or something. Or if you have the big balls, do it on the back 9 on Sunday, right? Do it on the back 9 on Sunday. If you're 10 back, that would definitely add some shit. I don't know if there's going to be that big of a change, but that sounds pretty fucking cool, Byron, I will say.
And a caddy, this is out of control, but a caddy could light a flare or something, distinguishing that, okay, this guy's on the press, just summing up, let's go.
So someone's doing it so every golfer on the whole fucking course knows that someone's doing the press?
Something,
everybody has a different color flare, and the caddy has the idea, it has the color codes. They're yo, Rory's going on his 9 right now, right? Or something like that. That would be tight. Because
what I'm saying? Let's
that would
tone this thing up a little bit.
Byron, that shit'll never fucking happen. No. Why? It'll never, ever fucking, why? I love it.
I love it too. It's out of, everything that makes sense has already been said. So, I just thought I'd share some fun shit there.
Yeah, I like it. All right, before we get to the Tour Championship, I did have a little bit of a weekend. Went to Atlantic City, so I was telling the guys for the show, I have a little system. So I won 4,200 on the tables at blackjack in 2 nights. I was just on a $50 minimum, $25 or $50 minimum table, but the minimums don't really do anything for me. So I have a little system. So I will share my system because the last 4 times I've gone to the casino, I only play blackjack. It's the only thing I play. Best odds in the house outside of slots. I don't even know. I'm not a numbers guy. But so I stick with blackjack, and I've won around 10K the last 4 times I've gone to the casino, and this goes back to 2019. So I've only been to the casino 4 times since 2019. The reason I don't go more often because there is one 20 minutes from my house now, and I do have now an MGM valued member since I was throwing mad dough because Borgata is an MGM subsidiary. And so I was just throwing mad dough. And so I'm sure I'll get some comps and shit like that. I'll be getting emails here soon. But the reason I don't go to a casino and gamble all the time is because it's like the most addictive drug for me. Like, as you guys know, throughout my life, I have dabbled in different things. But there's nothing more addictive than winning at a blackjack table. Because, I'll let you know, like, the second night, Saturday, when I won 20-something. I won over $2,000 both nights. And then, I lost a little bit playing stupid shit. So I think I won like 20. I think I won like 4,800 in 2 nights playing blackjack, and I lost like 600 just here and there doing some other shit. What I like to do when I get to the blackjack table is, I usually do like a $50 or $50 or $100 minimum bet. That's usually what I bet all the time, right? And once I'm trying to exponentially grow my bankroll quickly so I can make bigger bets. And then when I make the bigger bets, I can keep on growing. Of course, this does not work every time, but it's worked for me since I started doing it. And so what I would do is I'll put $100 down. I'll keep going. I'll look at the cards. If I see a bunch of like a couple of draws in a row without that many face cards, I'll bump up the bet to 200. Okay. And then if I see a couple of bets that don't go, that would have a shit ton of face cards and aces, a couple of draws, I'll drop it back down to 100. And then once I get past a certain point, like when I'm double or triple amount of money, I will double and triple my bets. You know what I'm saying? So if I start out, I usually start out with 500, okay? And I get to 1,000, I have 1,000 in front of me, then I'll start doing $200 bets. And then if I have 2,000 in front of me, I'll do $400 bets. So at one point in time yesterday, because the whole point, I'm not trying to go to a casino and win like a couple $100. I'm either going to lose, I have like usually if I lose my $1,000, it's usually the amount that I'm going to go with. If I lose my 1,000, I'm just going to leave. And I'm very, very good at that. But when you're winning, when you're winning, that drug is more potent and more addictive than any other drug I've ever had in my life. Like I was saying, I had like 7 Double Crown Royals on Saturday night, and I didn't feel it. I felt completely sober. I was there for about 6 hours. Now, once I stepped out of the casino, I was lit. I was fucking done. I don't know what they put in the air there in casinos. I don't know, but I mean, I don't even feel anything other than me focusing on the cards. And then, once you leave, then you can't walk. I basically couldn't walk yesterday afternoon. I only had about 8 hours of sleep in 3 days. And it wasn't even like drug induced. It was just straight casino. And so, I do love the casino. But anyways, so that's my strategy. Like once you start moving up and you double what you started with, you double your bets. You triple what you started, you triple your bets. So what can happen is you exponentially get bigger. And then if you have a shoe where you lose a shit ton of money, you get up and leave. And find another table. Basically, that's how I go about my strategy, and it was great. I mean, yesterday on Saturday, the first shoe, it was me and 3 of my boys. We sat down at the table, first shoe. We won like $6,700 between all 4 of us. It was an amazing fucking shoe. Wow. And like people started jumping back into our table, so the other 2 slots filled because they saw we were just fucking crushing. Second shoe, I'd lost like 6 straight hands in a row left because the 2 new guys fucked the fuck.
Mm-hmm. The vibes.
So there's certain things like that, but I mean, just the simple thing is whatever you're betting on your base bankroll, okay? Once your bankroll doubles, double your bets. Once your bankroll triples, you triple your bet. And then I had one hand yesterday where it was I had pocket 8s and the dealer showed a 6, and I think I was on like $400 a bet, so I put 600 down because I saw that there weren't that many face cards in the previous round. So I got the split 8s. She got a 6. Now that could fuck me because I hadn't seen that many face cards, and she has the 6, and you want a face card for her, or a 6 or better. But so it's a little bit of a risk. But so I got pocket 8s. She had a 6. I split. I got a 10 on my first 8. I got a 3 on my second 8. Doubled down on the 3. Hit the jackpot on that. Hit the blackjack on that. She fucking got the king. She was 16. Got the king. Went over. So my $600 bet turned into $1,800, turned into $2,400. With the blackjack and stuff like that. So that one hand, I won half of my shit yesterday. Now I did end up losing $2,000 of that, and then having to come back and win it back again. I mean, that's gambling, But it was a great time. We won a lot of money. That $4,200 still in cash. That's going straight in my vault or lockbox or whatever. And I'm taking that straight to Montreal for titties and more casino. So that'll be good. So the winning here should benefit everybody that's going to the President's Cup, including you, Byron.
I'm so pissed you lost that $2,000, Kenny. I needed that.
I mean, look, I'm gonna have another grand or two ready for that. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn probably 1,200 of that into bands and just get $100, wrap them up into little bands and just throw them at women at the titty bar. That's the way I think. I think I want to go in to the titty bar, give the host $100, give the security guys usually buy the host $300, ask for VIP, and then the host and then the security guy should let me be able to. Am I allowed to talk about strip clubs with your wife? Okay, have your wife not listen to this episode. Anybody who's going to Montreal with us, do not have your significant other listen to this show because I'm going to go and tell you exactly what I'm going to do. I got to figure out what strip club it is, but the strip clubs in Montreal I hear are amazing. Like I said, walk in, host 100, security 300, ask the security guy for bottle service. We'll get moved to VIP. And on the way to the VIP, I'm going to ask if I can pick the girls that I want to come join us in the VIP section. And so I will pick and choose all the women, and they will come, sit with us in the VIP. We'll be cracking Crown Royal. We'll be cracking some Grey Goose, and we'll be sitting there with about 10 different women around us, and we are going to have a good time.
This feels like a fever dream, Kenny. Like I feel like you've woken up from a cold sweat night.
No, this is what I do at most strip clubs because it's the best way. Like going to a strip club, you got to show like you got a little bit of money. Like even if you don't, like if you come in like acting like you're poor and cheap, ain't no woman gonna like fuck with you. They're not gonna come in there. You gotta at least pretend you got dough. Now you can't go overboard because then people will get mad at you, right? Like these motherfuckers taking all the girls. I'm like, oh, get some fucking money, bitch. But that's not what I'm gonna say because usually at a strip club you're not around the best people. You never know what can happen, so you try and keep any type of altercations to a minimum at a strip club. I can tell you that. So, if we have too many girls and I see everybody in the strip club eyeballing us, I'll tell the two ugly ones to leave or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You two the bounce, bitch. Go. You got to be fair. But yeah, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time. Make sure you watch and make sure you tell your wives that I was sick the whole week and I wasn't able to go out because if they listen to this, because yeah, that's what at least that's what I'm doing. Whoever wants to join me can join me. I'm not going to force people to do it.
It's good, Kenny. Did I ever tell you the time that we stole a pair of panties from the strip club? No. And so in college, back before I was anywhere near being engaged or anything, we zip up to the strip club and one thing leads to the next. And as we're getting basically kicked out because I think one of my buddies bit a nipple or something, he grabbed a pair of panties on the way out. But
he bit a nipple.
He nibbled on a nipple. I think that was, you never nibble on a nipple at a strip club because you'll get slapped and get kicked out.
You got to pay him first.
Yeah, I know. He did not. He was in college. He did not.
I have sucked on a nipple at a strip club. You need to give them money for that.
Yes. There was no back and forth. It was just a give.
And then they tell you how much, and then you give them money, and then you're good to go.
So whatever glitter and perfume was left on his tongue after that, we zip out, but the panties that got stolen ended up getting snuck into his pillow. And we never told him about it forever. And he just kept getting like micro sick. You just wake up randomly and just have like terrible, terrible symptoms. But
then you get like STD from like
I don't know what he was getting, man, but
that was not surprising with some of these strippers. I will let you know that.
Yeah, the stripper panty in a pillow for a good 6-week stint was pretty brutal for him, but we eventually took it out and he was healthy thereafter. Just these micro doses of of glitter and galore. So
I would have kept that shit in there forever and like let them know like 2 years later.
We were,
the greatest joke.
There was at some point there was a bit of a scare, like we needed him to play golf on the golf team at that point. So
like he was really that sick.
Yeah, he would get sick. It was crazy. And then we found out it was
and so you blamed the
forgot
panties?
about the
how
stripper
the panties make you sick?
Yeah.
How did it really?
Well, Kenny, I told you about the Des Moines, the Iowa, the meth and stuff. We got the stripper panties. They are potent stripper panties over here.
These are like some skanky hoes.
Oh,
those are the best strip clubs to go to because they're cheap and you could get away with anything in that champagne room for cheap.
The lumberyard, baby.
Cheap. Now I'm expecting like champagne room $1,000 to get what I want. Man. But and I'll tell them I got American dollars. Maybe it'll be cheaper. We'll see. My craziest strange strip club story. This one's my funniest. It's not my craziest. I can't say my craziest strip club stories, but my funniest strip club story. I was at a strip club. I was in Tampa. I was at 2001: A Space Odyssey. So it's a strip club near the airport that has like a spaceship on top, and the spaceship is the champagne room. Like you go up to the spaceship, and that's where you can, bang strippers. Anyways, so I'm there. We're getting ready to go to the airport. We're out of our hotel, so we had like a 4-hour break. So let's go to strip club by the airport. So we went to strip club, and it was the Solheim Cup was on. And these strippers are okay, whatever. I'm sitting on the stage and I'm looking at the stripper, throwing a couple bucks, and I put my phone like on the little thing on the stage in front of me, with a water bottle behind it, so I can watch the Solheim Cup, right? And then like the girl's dancing, she kicks over my phone like nonchalantly, like you stupid bitch. And like I put the phone back up, and then like a manager, I didn't see him. He grabs my shoulder from behind me, and he looks at my screen. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just watching golf." He's like, "Oh," he's like, I thought you were recording the girl dancing, because your phone's like set up and it looked like I was recording, the girl dancing on the strip club." I was like, "No, I'm watching women's golf." And he's like, "I gotta say, it's the first time he said he's like worked in the strip club for like 20 years. He's like, it's the first time I've ever seen a guy watch golf at our strip club." I was like, my bad. Like I've been to like 17 strip clubs this whole week. I'm about to leave. I'm like strip club out, but these guys want to go. I gave her some money. What the problem is? He's like, "You gave her money, you're fine." I was like, "All right, cool." And so I just continued to watch golf while the dancer was dancing, trying to shove her pussy in my face. I was like, "I'm not interested. I already banged some, 19-year-old thing last week, yesterday. I'm good to go. I'm good. But yeah, and so like he was about to kick me out, but then he was like, "This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in a strip club." I was like, "I apologize. Am I breaking any rules?" Like, technically, you're not supposed to have your phone out, but if you're just watching golf, I don't give a fuck. I was like, "Sweet, that works." So there you go. All right. So anything else before we move on?
I think story time has got its airtime for sure. Yeah, this is what you get when it's the Tour Championship.
I think that's the end of the pod there. Jesus.
I know. The funny thing is, I was like, I looked at last year's pod and I was like, okay, this will be like a 20-minute show, 30-minute show. It was an hour, 30 minutes last year. Like, what the fuck did we talk about? I was like, what do we do? It was me and Tambo back then. I was like, what do we talk about for an hour and a half on a Tour Championship? But I guess it makes sense. Let's move on. Let's go ahead and pay some bills. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. I personally like the pick'em games. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. Can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. Can also make rivals picks, which pits 2 players against each other. Now, the reason I like the pick'em games is because of these things called scorchers. There's these little chili peppers next to the golfers' names, and if you click on that, it adds to your multiplier, so you can win even more money. Sign up today with promo code Mayo and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Must be 18 or over and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, so we're back. Underdog Fantasy, of course, is our sponsor. They don't have anything up yet, so we will do something with that in the next couple of days. I'll either be on Byron's show or Mike will hook it up, or we do something tomorrow. We go over our Underdog plays tomorrow night. Make sure you go to underdogfantasy.com. Use promo code Mayo. Get yourself a deposit match bonus up to $250. Sorry, get the burps.
While you're burping, right. If you deposit 1,000, I think they match you 1,000 now.
What?
Yeah, I think it's $1,000 deposit match now for the new subs.
There you go. I did not know that. Well, whatever. Go do that shit. Up to $1,000 match. Why the fuck not? Look, they gave me $5K to just promote the site, right? But they didn't give me $5K cash. They gave me $5K in my account, so I could have lost that all. I did not. I've withdrawn over $12,000. So go ahead and you get that matched, man. Start winning some money. Go to underdogfantasy.com. With football coming up, right? Use promo code Mayo. Get that shit done. All right, so let's get to our kickbackgolf.com betting segment for this week. I do not have many bets. Make sure you go to kickbackgolf.com. Use promo code FGD15. Save yourself 15% on any product from the store that they have, the merchandise and the apparel. I am rocking the Australia Jason Day basketball jersey right now. They got all the cool shit. Tiger, Scheffler, Hideki, Jordan, JT, Rom, Koepka, Bryson. They got everybody. So go make sure you check that shit out. All right. So my bets for the week, my first one is just going to be Keegan to win actually the FedEx Cup at 20-1. I know it's not like a great number. I know it's sort of out there, but we've seen like wild shit happen, and Scotty hasn't been great at the Tour Championship. Xander does not have a win. Is Xander still in second? In the FedEx Cup? Well, let me look here.
Yes, he is. -8.
Okay. So Keegan is 4. So what is he? 4 strokes back?
Starting at -6, Keegan Bradley.
He's 4 strokes back. So, like I said, Scheffler, not great here. Xander might be trouble. And Hideki, was injured last week. Now, we'll talk about that later. We'll see how it goes. So, it's not like the toughest mountain to climb. Of course, he's got golfers behind him chasing him. But like we've seen hot guys stay hot in this time. I think we could see him moving up and maybe winning this FedEx Cup Championship. So I went ahead and got him at 20-1. I went ahead and took Sungjae at 28-1, I think, with 4 places for to win the Shadow Leaderboard. 72 all best score for Sungjae. And then I don't know why, but my book had Matthew Pavon at 175-1 to win the Shadow Leaderboard, right? And then the next one was 70, like the next lowest. So I was like, what the fuck? Is he hurt? I'm just going to put $10 on him with the each way. So I put 175-1, 4 places for fucking Pavon.
That makes tons of sense. That's a random number in a 30-man field,
right?
And this guy's shown he doesn't need any form to play randomly well out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like the guy just shows up randomly. So we'll see what he can do.
I thought that was really strange when I saw that number this morning. Maybe they meant to make it 75 and it's get voided. It's definitely possible. Let me actually look and see if I made the bet this morning. What?
Have you got any other bets?
No, the bet's still there.
Yeah.
72 all, stroke play winner, 4 places, 175-1.
Any Montreal, if that hits, I tell you.
Yeah.
We may never come back.
$10 on it. I'll only put $10 on it. So I'll win like $2,000.
Cool. No, that makes tons of sense. Okay. So Scotty Scheffler's -10, Xander Schauffele starting -8, Hideki -7, Keegan -6, Ludwig -5, and then it starts bracketing off into -4s like a bunch of guys -4. I have Xander Schauffele to win this thing. I put a unit down to win 2.5 units back, plus 250. In my opinion, this is the time for him to just win this thing. Kenny has gained 2.1 strokes on the field at this venue in 28 rounds of golf. Him and Tony Finau, the only 2 guys to have made it to the Tour Champs 7 consecutive times in the last 7 years. So Xander loves this golf course. He's played here incredibly well. It's like a 0.8 stroke difference to the next best guy. which is insane to think about. So we got lots of love for Xander. I think, just starting ahead of the majority of the field with Scotty just ahead of him by 2. Scotty's shown, like you mentioned, Scotty sucked it up at this venue. He could be a little injured still after last week, the sore back. Give me Xander at plus 250. I think Bet365, BetRivers had all of those over there. So I'll be jumping on that. And then the shadow leaderboards. Sam Burns, 22-1. Guy's just absolutely crushing right now. He's sitting at -4. 4 strokes
Since
back.
the Butterfish bet. Since the Butterfish bet, that first bet, Sam has been balling. He needs to give me a point or two. The fuck?
The brother needs to get his stuff together. He needs to win me some money back so I can buy a large amount of Depends, because we're going to need it for whenever that happens. Then the other guys, Justin Thomas. If you take a look at what Justin Thomas has done at Eastlake, guy has crushed this golf course. Missed the Tour Champs last year, but prior to that, now it's also, depending on where you start your leaderboard situation, but Justin Thomas has finished 5th, 4th, 2nd, and 3rd at the Tour Championships in the last 4 times he's played there. So that's ridiculous form at this venue. Give me JT Shadow Leaderboard 33-1, and then Benny On 66-1. Long iron intensive golf course. Give me Benny On 66 Shadow Leaderboard winner. Let's see what he can get up to. I was tempted to bet him top 10 at plus 300 as well. He's sitting -2. So I don't know where the form is. It looked like it got a little better last week. Maybe we can capitalize on that again. I mean, the top 13th finish there wasn't bad. So we'll see what he can do, but I like these Shadow Leaderboard guys down the bunch here.
All right, that sounds good. For Shadow Leaderboard, that's the stroke play event, right?
Basically, time trial.
Yeah. That's the stroke play event. All right, so let's get to this week. Let's talk about the course, a little bit of strategy, stuff like that, because this is a weird event, only 30 people. The final event of the PGA season is upon us, as the top 30 golfers in the FedEx Cup points list head to Eastlake Golf Club in Atlanta for the Tour Championship. 5 years ago, the tournament changed when it came to scoring. The FEC lead, the FedEx Cup leader, Scheffler, now starts at -10, and every other golfer will have between a 2 to 10 stroke disadvantage on the leader, depending on where they're ranked in the FedEx Cup standings coming into the event. Now, it seems like the guys way down the board will have no chance to catch the leaders, but with the staggered scoring, we saw in 2020, Xander jumped from -4 prior to the first round to holding the lead after round 1. He went from -4 to holding the lead after round 1 in 2020. Okay, we also saw Cantley start at -8 in 2019, but finished near the bottom on Sunday with a final score of +1. A couple of years ago, Homa started at -2, finished in the top 5 for the week. So, it's not like out of the realm of possibilities to see some of these guys down below may move it up top. Now, I don't think there's been a guy, I think I'll write this down later in the thing, so let me keep going. Since this is a 30-man no-cut event and the scoring system is unusual, strategy for DFS purposes is different than a normal week. Personally, I'll be playing no cash, but we'll see. I've never played cash in the Tour Championship. I don't think I've played much in the BMW Championship, and I've just been sort of smoking. Like, I should have won cash a couple weeks ago with Hideki, so it should be 5 straight weeks of winners.
I think you run it back, Kenny.
And so it's tempting not to, but I mean, here's the thing. The reason why I don't usually play cash. It's because, missing out on one high-owned golfer who does very well will make it very difficult to cash. And the thing is, the field is so convoluted small, it's tough to match that golfer with another one of yours since the field's only 30. You know what I'm saying? Now, ownership for every golfer is going to be inflated due to the smaller field, and the usual higher-owned golfers in cash games that normally come around 30, 35% owned, they're going to be 50 or more this week. Let's say Rory's the highest owned. He had a good week last week, really great, FedEx Cup, Eastlake track record, and he's 9,400, 96, like super cheap. He could be your second guy. It's possible that he might be, and a decent week last week. It's possible that he could be your highest owned golfer. Let's say he's 65% for cash games, right? If you don't roster him, he ends up winning. I mean, you're basically fucked. There's no way you can win, right? There's no way you can do it. Now, with other times, it can happen. You get 6-6. That. I mean, it's just a lot more different outcomes that could be in your favor when the field is a lot larger. When the field is smaller, it's definitely not in your favor when it comes to cash. Now, if you do own Rory and he wins, the advantage that you normally get because he'd be 30, 35% is going to be less too. So even if you don't have him or you do have him, you're getting less value than you normally would in a regular week of cash. Now, that doesn't mean, so I really shouldn't, but I'm thinking of it. I have like a faux cash game cornerstones. Fuck it. I'll do it. I'll go ahead and name my cash game cornerstones for this. I don't know if I'm playing cash yet, but I will do it. And then Mike's looking at me like I'm fucking crazy because I did not tell him this before the fucking pod, and he usually has the graphics up. So I apologize, Mike. My bad. But now, GPPs, it's going to be different as well. In huge GPPs, it's going to be very difficult to come up with a lineup that's not duplicated by another player. The easiest way to somewhat avoid this is by spending a lot less under the $50,000 cap. Like, I'm not talking about a couple $100 less. I'm talking about like $800, $1,200, $1,500, $1,600, $2,000 less under the cap. It's not that hard to do. Even if you roster a couple studs, like a 10 and a 9K guy. There's some 7K guys down there. There's some 6K guys down there that are very playable. Many DFSers are hesitant to do this because they see that amount of money left on the table. Like, okay, I can make this better. Just try not to fall for that in a week like this with only 30 people. Now, personally, I think Stars and Scrubs is going to be the most popular lineup construction. Just because, you got top guys up there. You got Scheffler and Xander there, and Ulberg's up there. He's playing well. People are going to go up to those guys. So, if you go balanced, I think it's another way to be a little bit more unique. If you start like in the 9K range, I think it's going to give you a little bit more uniqueness. If you stay away from the 10K range, because everyone's going to, I'd say 80% is going to go hit up that 10K range, maybe even more because of the golfers that are in it. Okay. So if you want to use more of your dollars, okay, but you still want a less chance of being duped, then I would start in like the 9K range or maybe even the 8K range, something like that, and just go super balanced. I think that will be less likely a lineup construction for the masses than Stars and Scrubs. So in summary, like balanced builds, you have a better chance of not being duped, leaving money on the table, better chance of not being duped. And here's the thing. You always make sure you go with your own personal preference. You can always make adjustments with the golfers elsewhere in your lineup. If you love somebody and you see he's going to be 60% on, if it makes sense, you go and play him. Make your changes somewhere else. Or you can go the game 3-way. And, if you see some type of hesitation, if you have some type of hesitation with a top guy, go ahead and give him a fade. Now, do we really fade Xander this week? Byron? Do we take that risk? I can't. And maybe that's why I'm not a good GPP player. What about you?
That is the question. I think if you're playing like a Xander Keegan Bradley lineup, you're going to have a problem. Maybe they both play well, maybe they don't. But the ownership on Xander is going to be ridiculous this week. But this guy's played so well at this golf course, and it's at a golf course that all the best have played at. He has dominated them. He's like been so much better. But at the same time, Rory likely comes in at maybe half the ownership, 2/3 of the ownership of Xander, which will give you a great pivot option for a very similar but way less reliable option. Much cheaper as well, $1,400 difference in price tag there. So we'll see what these guys can do. For me, Keegan Bradley jumped 9 spots when I factored in his starting position, like into my power rankings using, finishing position points or where you start on the leaderboard. He jumped up 9, Hideki jumped up 6. So those are the 2 guys for me that I will not be playing just based off of their starting position points and how much chalk will be associated with them, even though I'm not the biggest fan of them in my projections and things. So we'll see what those 2 guys come in ownership wise. I'm expecting tons and tons of ownership because you're getting some good value on the leaderboard side of things. I think I will be going to Xander. I think that's my chalk play, and I'll go crazy after that. We can find all the different options after Xander. I think, like you mentioned, Kenny, we got 7 guys inside the top the $9,000 range. We had 7 guys inside the 10K range, I think, last week, right? So the pricing, these are the same dudes, so the pricing is going to be so much more easy to kind of click names that are way down the board. And as a result, leaving money on the table is an absolute necessity. There's 30 golfers in this field, so you have to be different if you're playing in big GPs.
All right. Well, one thing is, it won't be that hard to make up ground for lower golfers as a lot of people would think. Like if you look at, for example, like Sung Jae, all right, he's starting 17 points or 7 points behind Scheffler, right? All it takes is hold on. He's 7 points behind Scheffler. All it takes for Burns to catch up, for him to catch up to Scheffler, is for Scheffler to fall back to fourth and Burns to have one more 3 birdie streak bonus, for the week. That's it.
That's it.
For the week. Scheffler goes to fourth, and then Burns has has 3 more birdies than Scheffler and 1 birdie streak. That's it. 3 more birdies than Scheffler, and Scheffler finishes in fourth. Burns, who's seven back, can catch up to him at least. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like out of the question for these guys to be able to move up and some of these guys up top to move down. Let's actually get to the course. So there has been some renovations. Basically, I would say similar to what happened in Colonial, right? So they lengthened the course to 7,500 yards almost, but they made it from a par 70 to a par 71. They added another par 5. Okay, they converted the fairways to another type of zoysia grass. It's always been zoysia. It's just another type, but this one plays a little bit firmer. If you notice at the East Lake the last few years, no matter the conditions, you never got a big time rollout at East Lake. This brand of zoysia hopefully will actually make it happen. Give them a little bit more roll. They converted all the greens to Tiff Eagle Bermuda, redesigned the size, shape, contouring, and surrounding runoff of each greens, and they added new bunkers. This is like the majority of what happened for the changes, right? Now, we could see if this really changes anything about the course history. If we look back at the Colonial, like it really didn't. Like the type of golfer that was supposed to win at Colonial continued to perform well at Colonial. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. I think the biggest change is going to be the greens because what you normally see, now this is Atlanta, this is extremely humid, it's the middle of the summer, so it might not figure as prominently here just because of the weather, but normally when you put new grass on greens, it takes a year or two for it to really, grab and latch hold and start, to grab and latch hold of the ground. So during that time, it usually doesn't get as much water. It usually doesn't have the roots built in, which will usually make it so that the greens are firmer, that they're a little bit harder to stop the ball. Now, I'm not quite sure if we're going to see what that normally happens, but in a place in a temperature zone as Atlanta, I'm not sure because if they have a shit ton of rain, if they have thunderstorms, I'm sure it's still going to be soft. So that's just something to pay attention to when you listen to golfers and their interviews and stuff like that about the changes on the course this week. Now let's get to the body of the course. East Lake Golf Course, 7,500 yard par 71, 4 par 3s, 3 par 5s. All the par 5s reachable if the prevailing wind shifts. The 600-yard par 5 18th will be tough to reach by shorter hitters. Usually the wind is at the golfer's back on that hole, so it doesn't play quite as long as the 600 yards suggests. The par 3s here at East Lake are on the difficult side. All 4 routinely end up as 4 of the 9 most difficult holes on the course. 3 of them play over 200 yards, and the 4th is around 193 yards long. 5 of the par 4s are over 450 yards. Another 5 between 400 and 450. There's 4 par 4s over 450 yards. One of those was moved to a 500 yard, to a par 5. The course was Originally designed by Donald Ross, but Reese Jones redesigned the course in 1994. Andrew Green did the redo this past year. The greens were switched from bent grass to Bermuda grass in 2007, and of course, they just changed it again this year. East Lake switched the 9s a couple of years ago, and they're going to keep it like that. So I like it. I like that because the tournament now ends on a par 5. Lots of drama heading that way. It used to end on a par 3. That shit sucked. The last 4 holes are now going to make the final stretch a little bit more challenging and more fun to watch, right? The 15th hole, long par 3, Peninsula Green. The prevailing wind usually blows towards the water. There's a huge bailout bunker on the left-hand side. Golfers hit it in the bunker. They're going to face a crazy, like, downhill shot with minimal green, like, into the water. It's such a cool hole. The 16th hole was lengthened recently. They're going to deal with a blind approach shot, large multi-tier green. 17th, it was has a major dog leg. A lot of holes here are predominantly straight. 17th actually has a pronounced dog leg. And so it makes that hole pretty cool. Really, really small greens on 17, and of course 18 of the par 5. Lots of going for the gusto. Lots of chances to make some good numbers down there at the end to boost you up the leaderboard. Now, off the tee, golfers are going to see tree-lined fairways that are fairly narrow in width with large fairway bunkers in play. In the landing zones, the rough not too tall, 2.5, 3 inches, but it's very thick, so hitting fairways is going to be important. Golfers need to hit certain spots below the hole on the greens to have realistic birdie chances, and hitting it in a rough off the tee is going to make this a lot more difficult. The numbers show this is less than 50% of approaches from the rough land on the green. Now, this doesn't mean the driver is left in the bag. Many golfers still use the big dog off the tee, so fairways are going to be missed. If golfers struggle off the tee, a solid short game is going to be needed. On approach shots, golfers will see a wide array of different size greens. The larger greens will be multi-tiered with a lot of slope. The smaller greens won't be tiered, but they will have a lot of slope from back to front. Some of the small greens will be sloped from back left to back right, and vice versa, which will make putting and chipping a little bit more difficult. Greenside bunkers will be in play on most holes, and with the majority of them guarding the front of the greens. These Bermuda grass greens are a main defense of the course, and I think they should be even more with the new greens. They should play firm and fast with a stip meter rating of over 12. Since these greens are so tough to chip and putt on, I think this makes an approach shot putting contest. Golfers need to hit a ton of greens, and they're going to have to be prepared to hit putts with a lot of break and speed. What type of golfers are you looking for this week?
I am looking for golfers that can dominate on the long iron front. And I think why Xander's played so well, Kenny, remember we've always said Xander is a better long iron player than Scotty Scheffler, who is the best iron player in the world. Yeah. Like you mentioned, all of those long approach shots from 175 and out, 200 and out, that's where Xander thrives. So if you can just have so many of those shots, you need your golfer to be able to dominate the long iron game. You also need to be a good total driver of the golf ball, because sometimes being in this rough can be penal, and it can result in, really bad approach shots from the rough. So a nice, good ball striker this week. Someone in DFS side of things, Kenny, also down the leaderboard. I am totally cool taking guys all the way down there. Guys -2, -1, -3, even level par, right in on the bubble. They're, like you mentioned, a 3 birdie streak, a bogey-free round, boom. You've made up that big difference already, and your finishing position points don't even, you're going to be getting those additional points too. This is basically a exaggerated version of round 4 showdown, where the bigger the risk you take, the more reward it will have, because less people will be on a guy that's way down the leaderboard, but your points are exponentialized because he'll just race right up there with all those birdies and streaks and get the position points that hardly anyone else is going to be on him this week.
I like that. Let's get to these tiers. Let's start in the 10K range. Only 3 guys. We got Hideki, Xander, and Scheffler. And the weird thing is 2 of the guys could be injured. I mean, how high of a percentage is Xander going to be? Like 60, 70?
60 something, yeah. It's 60, almost 70. Lock him in moment if you're going to play him or not.
Yeah, you got to be like 100% Xander. If you're not going 100%, I would think you would have to go another direction, because there's no point in being less than the field average on it, because you're losing leverage to your opponents in DFS. So I think you have to go 100 for him if you're going to play him, which definitely a possibility. Something that I probably will do. Now, I think a lot of people might go that route. They'll just leave Scotty and Decky sub 30% in a field with only 30 people.
I think Scotty gets a bit more love. The Hideki WD is very troublesome to people's, we've got a lot of scar tissue there.
And I want to play him because, I mean, he knows that he's already up there, right? He's already, what is Hideki in the
He's
field?
third, -7, 3 shots behind Scotty.
So because of that win at the St. Jude, he really didn't need to do much here to be, in third place, 7 under, only 3 back. If he was feeling any type of niggly, right? Mike just woke up on that one. I used that correctly, right?
Yeah.
I used it correctly.
Oh, yeah.
If I used it incorrectly, you would have had to have edited that out. But Mike was asleep over here on a producer video, and right when I said that word, his eyes got all big, all of a sudden. But yeah, so if he was feeling any bit niggly, I would have bounced too, because I mean, this week's for $25 million, right? I mean, like, how much more could he have gone up, right? If there was anything wrong with him, and he was 5 under after round 1. It wasn't like he was playing like shit, right? I think Hideki's live. I don't think he's going to be faded as much as people think. I think a lot, because I am the chalk man. I am the chalk god. All I do is play chalk. And if I like a guy, he's probably going to be chalk. That's my line of thought on this. I think he's going to be more popular than people think. Maybe not. What do you think? You don't think so?
Well, relative to Xander, I think he'll probably come in at half Xander's ownership. So is that chalk?
That's
No.
the thing.
You know,
You can go
like,
50-50 on Scheffler, Decky, and if you fade Xander.
Right.
I'd be pretty well overweight on both, I would think. Maybe less on Scheffler. Maybe like a 60-40. Or do 60-60 and do fucking crazy shit and put both of those up. You know what I'm saying? Make them 60-60, right? Or 55-55 and have 10% of your lineups with both of them in here. I have not decided which way I'm going, but if I'm playing cash, Xander's my first cash game cornerstone.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
You
There's
have
no doubt
to play
about
cash.
that. GPPs, not sure.
Xander is going to be the biggest leverage opportunity there is. If he plays poorly, you're only playing against 40% of the field.
Yeah.
But again, Kenny, this guy's inside the top 10, 73% of his starts. At this golf course, he's been automatic.
Like 100% top 10.
Ooh, like it's so crazy to see like 91% of his starts inside the top 20. Like he's so constant. His floor is so high. Yeah. You're gonna need like a 1 or 2% outcome to kind of
capitalize on fading Xander. Yeah.
So it's almost like trying to fade him for fading him, game theory purposes in this situation may not be the way to go. But in the 9s, I will leave probably 15-20% to just fire off Rory in a non-Xander lineup as well.
Yo, Rory's my second cascade cornerstone.
Yeah.
If I'm having one. The man, he had one bad week, right? Now, I did worry about his mental aspects. If you listened to Andy's show last week, Inside Golf, I was on, we talked about, like, is something wrong mentally with Rory because of, like, what happened at the Open Champion. Well, the missed putt is how it went and started at the U.S. Open. And then going to the Open Championship and audibly saying at a press conference that you gave up. Okay, even if you did do that, right? Even if you gave up mentally, why in the world would you say that out loud? Like, that seems like something's wrong in his head. Like, he's usually pretty calculated in stuff that he says and doesn't really say stuff that's too much going to cause a stir. That shit, I mean, like, why? Like, why would you say anything like that out loud? And then we saw last week, DFL on a course, I don't know, or 2 weeks ago, DFL on a course over there at the St. Jude where, something like, I don't know what was wrong with him. He was just off. And it seemed like he was gone. So I was really paying attention to this past week, and he looked, at least when I looked at stats and numbers, and he looked okay. So maybe it's not that horrible, and people are still going to think about, that dead last of the first one, and then, not a top 10 this past week, even though he was in a top 10 for the majority of the week. I'm going to go and use Rory as my second cascade cornerstone, for this event. I like him. I will play him in GBPs. I think it's possible that his ownership is going to be lower. I mean, all that good stuff. So I'm going to play a lot of Rory down here.
Yes, I'm right there with you, Kenny. I'm almost tempted to bet him top 5 plus 150 as well, because I think, he's sitting in the 6th hole, 6th spot there tied with a few other guys at -4. He's only, 4 back of Xander, 6 of Scotty. So we've seen him at this golf course. This is his happy place too. This guy has shown up here, and this would be his 4th FedEx Cup championship win if he knocks it off, which is unprecedented, right? He tied Tiger with 3, I think, last year. This would put him in a world that not even Tiger's been in, I don't think. So he's motivated, and $15 million up to first or whatever, or 10 million or whatever they make is going to be an absurd amount of money, which he's likely after again. And he likes this golf course. $9,600 is a very fair price. What about Ludwig to you?
Yeah, I think he's going to be the most popular.
Ludwig?
Yeah, in an IK range. I think he's going to be the most popular. I mean, I was definitely wrong about him hitting a rookie wall last week. But again, he did what he did on Sundays. Something's not quite right there when it comes to Sunday. I'm not sure. We'll have to see what the ownership is. I know I'm playing Rory. And then I think, I do think that Oberg is going to be the highest owned here. So I think the pivot is Rory. And I think the lowest owned is going to be Morikawa, because it seems like he's not right. Do you take the risk and think that he could be right on a day if you get him at 15, 16, 17% owned in a 30-man field? Do you take that risk at 9,100? Maybe possibly you're a third golfer in. It's tempting. What do you think?
It's tempting, but if you take a look at Collins' approach metrics, he's one of the best iron players in the world. But he's got rankings all inside the top 10 when you're looking at metrics inside 150, 100, inside 200. Then you get Kenny to the 200 plus. And strokes gained from 200 and out, 30th in a field of 30. His approach numbers from 200 out are disgustingly bad. And we're going to see so many of them here this week again. If he's lost his game, although he's had, 2 6th-place finishes, maybe that was because of where he was on the leaderboard. But it's just, I think he's lost a bit of it. You got to pick and choose your battles here. Your player pool has to also be really tight unless you're finding a lot of low-owned options, which this isn't the range to find those low-owned options. I think the bottom guys where you can get a 5 or 10, 7% guy, that's going to be a pivot situation. I don't think Collins it this week.
All right, 8K range. We only got 4 golfers too. I mean, Keegan the highest owned, Wyndham the lowest owned.
Victor potentially could be back to being the lowest owned again because he showed up one time in the last little while. And we all got excited, and then he showed us, what? Actually, I'm not back. I thought I was, and I think that's where he will land up being, especially with the -2 next to his name. All the other guys in this $8,000 range are either -6 or -4. So I think just getting those extra 2 shots to Victor gives me some excitement. I might be in on that. I think that's the way I'd be looking at him, and Wyndham Clark as well. I will not be playing Keegan Bradley this week just because of last week
the long iron.
The ownership.
Not the long iron play too. He comes in last in long iron play for me.
Keegan
in this field in the last 24 rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think you really needed that many too many 200 plus shots technically last week. I mean, maybe on the scoreboard it was 200 plus shots, but you got to remember, of course, the 10%, the altitude and stuff like that. I don't think he hit too many outside 200 feet. I don't know. He is hot, which is why I bet him. But if he's going to be uber popular, this could be the fade for me just because of the way his long iron play is. Now, do you ride the hotness or do you look at the numbers? That's the decision, right? I think the catalyst will be ownership. If he's one of the top 10 highest owned, then probably not. If he's outside the top 10, yeah, I mean, maybe you take a peek at him. But so Burns is the favorite, you think?
Well, what do you
playing
mean?
The best?
Oh, yeah. Who I think is the best golfer in this range is Sam Burns. Yeah. AKA, that's why I bet him on the shadow leaderboard.
There you go.
I mean, just and stuff. You can't. The ownership's going to be too crazy based off of one tournament. Leading up to that, it was shit. not good at all. So his best finish was a 39th and a 22nd. You know, like, I'm out. You know, unless he's been playing much better recently, I'm out. Sorry.
All right, so this 7K range is where we're going to see probably the second highest owned golfer. I'm not sure exactly who it's going to be, but I think it's probably going to be Tony Finau down here at 7,700. Now, here's the thing: if I made a cash line, I'll just give the cash lineup. I won't do my cornerstones. I'll make it easier for Mike. I'll just give out my whole entire cash lineup. So if I'm playing cash, I have Rory, I have Fleet, I have Xander. I'm going Fleetwood, Sungjae, Finau in this 7K range. I mean, it seems like automatic, right? I mean, all the guys play this course well. All the guys' iron games have been exceptionally strong. So that makes sense for me in cash. There's this trio in cash. And this cash lineup that I put out could be like duped 8 billion times also. So just giving you a heads up on that one. But those three seem to make the most sense. And they seem to me like they will be the highest owned in this three group. I think the second highest owned, I think will be in this group behind Xander. Maybe the highest owned outside of the 10K range, I think will be in this zone. How about that?
And
what do you think?
I think it's going to be Keegan.
You think it's going to be Keegan? I don't think
That's
so.
It's a random guess. You know, it would require a lot of sheep to go into the same pasture, which I would hope for. But I don't know if in the sevens. You know, ownership, Kenny, typically conglomerates the higher the price of the golfer is. It's hard for people to click a lot of names. But I guess, you know,
yeah, but those three stick out so bigly in this 7K range compared to everybody else around them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the ownership in the 7K range is going to be in this range. And I think, you know, the Adam Scotts of the world are going to be under-owned. The Shane Lowrys of the world are going to be under-owned. The Thegalas are definitely going to be under-owned compared to these guys. I think Billy Horschel might get a little bit of steam just because of his history here. Who do you like?
Russell Henley. Got the 5th best strokes gained history at this golf course, and that's just strokes gained pure. You know, no starting strokes, none of that nonsense, not looking at results, looking at strokes gained. Russell Henley, $7,400. He's finished top 10 in his last 2 majors. This guy's been cracking top 10s at a ridiculous rate the last little while, sitting inside the top 20 about 1 in every 3 starts. So he's -2. You know, finding -2, -3, that's 1 hole. -4 is 1 hole.
Like I said,
-2.
Palma started -2, finished top 5.
Right.
A couple of years ago.
Somebody's got to be that guy. And I think Russell Henley
I like that.
Is the guy that can absolutely just give me a carrot, let me go chase that son of a gun down. You know, he's so far down the leaderboard here. I think he's just going to be going nuclear. I love his accuracy off the tee. I love the short game, the ability to make putts. We're back on Bermuda grass again, right? So Russell Henley back in business. And then Benny On, I'll also mention as like a low-owned option who can go nuclear as well. Also can leave you with severe heartburn. So Benny On would be my other guy, and then I'd say Billy Horschel too.
Well, the long iron play with Benny is going to be solid. You know, and you know, he's also first in par 3, strokes gained par 3s on holes 200 to 225 yards. And so he's number 1 in this field in the last 24 rounds. So I think that's where I'll go to make the shift in GPPs, because for some reason I could be wrong about this. You know, when it comes to like ownership in the middle, I'm not really sure. But it's still those 3 names stuck out to me that I mentioned first: Finau, Fleetwood, Sungjae. And so I'm just hoping, because I've dropped out of the money in the Slider Cup one and done after the first couple of weeks. Had a really bad. The first FedEx Cup event was multiplied by 4. The second was multiplied by 6. Now, I've saved Xander and Sungjae for this final. And this week is multiplied by 12. So I have a chance. I'm going to need both of them to finish top 5 probably to move up big time. But that could be why I'm hoping. But I really want Sungjae to do well. And I like your Henley and I like your Ben On to be guys that maybe Henley's going to catch team, but I don't think Ben is. I think Ben might be the pivot in the 7K outside of like Thigala, you know, who's playing like dog shit. And then, you know, so we'll see. Let's move on to this 6K range, to fill out my cash lineup, it's going to be just Pendrith. He's just what I have left. $6,500 after going Xander, Rory, Fleetwood, Sungjae, Finau, Pendrith. And if I'm going cash, that's probably the lineup that I would play. Now watch that thing win a GPP and I don't play, or something like that, right? So I do like Pendrith down here. Now JT, how high is it going to be?
I don't know. I think the fact that he's got no starting, he's like dead.
Here's the thing:
on
if you look at last week's ownership, in the top 10, half were the 6K range. Because you had to get guys down there to be able to build the lineups you build. Like half of the top 10 highest owned last week was in the 6K range. And we don't have that many 6K guys. I think JT's got to be top 5 highest owned in the field, no matter what the tier is.
That's interesting, Kenny. I can see it. I understand. But again, we've got to start. All of the guys starting on even par this week are in the 6K range. Guys that aren't.
You got nobody else. Like, course history still matters.
Right.
All right. People still look at fucking course history.
Right.
I do a big time mostly for cash, but people still look at it. And he has the best by far. Not even close. Probably third best in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And he's 6,800 after a decent showing last week. And not the worst year he's ever had. And he had the worst year last year, right? He improved this year. It's not the JT of old, but for $6,800, you can do a lot worse than JT. Now, this is where I think you could fade, right? I mean, this seems like, because you're not completely sure about JT. You're like, he could do well, right? But he's $6,800 for a reason in this field, even though his form is excellent, even though his course history is excellent. It's not like he's been a golfing god. He's been better, right? But I'd say Bati has probably been better than him this season, right? Bobby Mack has 2 wins. If you just go based on wins, because he has missed about 10 cuts. So they're probably playing some similar. Maybe we can give Bati the advantage, or not Bati, McIntyre the advantage. Pendrith, probably playing on the same level as JT this year, but has a win. Zenu, Hoagie, Pavard has a win. I mean, like, there's a couple of guys that have played just as good as JT this season, and that aren't playing horrible coming in. Chris Kirk comes to mind, myself. Now, I think I'm going to play. I think I want to play Chris Kirk, $6,200. I know the stats aren't there, but he looked good for about 2 or 3 rounds last week. He's only played in this tournament once, but fucking he did really well back in 2014. Again, you're not going to have 40% owned Chris Kirk, but you could Justin Thomas this week, maybe even 50% owned Justin Thomas this week. You can get Kirk at 20, 30% maybe. It sounds crazy when you listen to percentages and you play DFS on a weekly basis, but comparatively in this field, that's pretty low owned, right? You know what I'm saying? So I think Pendrith is already in my cash lineup. Rye, again, he's another one that could be hitting a wall. He's been playing a lot of golf. Like, I want to get on him here because he's a fairway and greens guy, which is exactly what this course needs. But he's been playing a lot of golf. Let's see if he has like one more week in him, it seemed like he faded out on the weekend this past week. Maybe he can get back on track. I'm probably going to play him because I think it's worth a try. I think just looking at like the numbers here recently, nobody stands out more than Aaron Rye. Just strictly numbers, stats, fairways and greens. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what you need at this course. And he's been the best. One of the best down here when it comes to fairways and greens in the last 2 months. He's just been playing a lot. And that's my worry. Who do you like?
Yeah, I think I really like Justin Thomas, like you mentioned. I just hope that the starting position helps us with a little bit of ownership. But if he's going to be crazy owned, this is the spot where you go. Someone has to be from this range. has to be in the optimal. And if you can find someone that's less than 10% owned you somehow or close to, that's going to save you.
I don't know if any. Do you see anybody being less than 10% owned? I don't think so.
Last week, there were people less than like round about 5%, so there's.
Pavon, maybe.
Yeah.
Pavon, maybe.
But so what you need to do is when you're looking at ownership this week, you need to minus 10% off of what the projected ownership is to try and get, okay, how much leverage am I really getting on the field? Because you can't just avoid chalk this week because there's only 30 guys. There's going to be popular players. You got a roster construction, leaving salary on the table, finding guys in this range like Tom Hoagie, maybe Bezzy, but Bezzy's a crowd favorite. I think Pendrith is a solid option. Bobby Mack after the WD, if we can get some information on that, he's playing good golf. And maybe he just had a stomach bug or something versus like a physical injury, like a pain-related thing. Maybe that's what we needed. So there's some options here. I think you got to just let ownership dictate where you go in this bottom range because it's as much a lottery as, the lottery itself.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Anything else?
No. I'm excited for this week. I know people aren't, but I've been a little golfed out the last little while, but it's the final hoorah. We're going to see what's going on. So I'm excited for that.
All right. So this is the end of season 9. I guess, I don't know. Do you call this the end of season 9? Does the fall swing account for this now? I don't even know what happens in the fall. Like, all I know is we'll be doing podcasts in the fall for every week. But I don't even know how it works. I don't even know, like, who's in the field, who's going to play. Like, isn't it a battle for, like, positional rankings or something in the fall? Isn't that what the fall is about now?
I think the top 50 guys all get into the signature events, and then everyone's going to be battling for, I think, the final 10 or 5 spots in those signature events in the fall.
Really?
The guys who dominate the fall get an easy pass for the first bit of it. So, start your season off well.
After the century, because the century is just winners. Yeah. But we'll be doing pods. This is season 9 just complete. We'll be moving on to season 10 of the
Congratulations,
Golf.
Kenny.
Season 10. Pretty wild stuff. It's been a wild ride. It's been fun. Thank you guys for all listening throughout the years. Me and Byron and Mike and Brad and Tyler and Zach, we all appreciated it throughout the years. So thank you all very, very much. Byron, tell them where you can find you.
Catch me at rotoballer.com. That's where all my stuff will be. I pop my model out there. I've got adjusted for starting positions and all sorts of stuff going on in there. As always, I will be doing back 9 bets tomorrow on Mayo Media at 7 Eastern. Maybe we have Kenny on for the first little bit of the show again if producer Mike doesn't want to cut up a little promo for us. If not, we'll get a show out there for you guys for underdog picks if they do have those for this week. So a lot of fun stuff for me.
That's a bad idea.
I love it. Ideally just a little less couch potatoed at the final part of the intro there for us, but everything else is golden, Kenny. So I think we'll get you looking good.
I just wanted to know. We'll talk about it. All right, you can find me on X at KendoVT. You can find my article every week on GupsCorner.com. Use promo code GupsCorner. I think this is year 6 or 5 on Gups Corner. So it's been a long time with old Brandon. So it's been a good time there. And use promo code Kenny. Save yourself 30%. And then, of course, go to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Mayo. Get yourself a deposit bonus up to $250 or maybe $1,000. I haven't heard that yet, but Byron thinks it might be $1,000. So get on that. And also go to kickbackgolf.com. Use promo code FGD15. Save yourself 50% on all their cool apparel, like this Jason Day Australia basketball jersey. All right. It should be a fun week. Let's win some motherfucking money. Degen Nation. All right. Any OT with... I think it's a good idea to do that thing on your show. You could bring more eyes to your show.
I love it.
They wanted to see
cameo.
it. And then we can just push it and be like, you want our underdog fantasy play for round 1, go watch this video. And and then people will click it, and then you throw out all that great info every single week. They're going to stick on and keep watching. I think that's a good idea. If you're listening to this and you haven't watched Byron's show on Tuesday, it's fucking incredible. Like, our show is just bullshit, chitter chatter. He like delves deep into the numbers and like it really goes through the stats and the numbers and different things. And if you're a number guy, I do not know, or actually, if you're not a number guy, I think it makes more sense to go and listen to Byron on Tuesdays because it's pretty fucking, there's lots of info. I'm on this fucking show. I can tell you that fucking right now.
Lots of fun colors.
So that's why I don't know if I want to ruin it by like being on it at all. But I think if we could do like the first 10 minutes, the thing is like I wanted to talk for like another 30 minutes, but I didn't know if I should because I felt like I was just going to be like taking over your show. And that's not what I do. Like if you notice me on other people's shows, I'm a lot more demure.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more demure. All right. I had to use that word. Sorry. So because it's not my show, right? I mean, I'm not the star of the show. I'm not the person that, it's not my show. So I got to let the star of the show do his thing, and I don't want to overshadow or reach him. And so I usually try and stay a little bit more calm, unless it's like a comedy bit, like some of Mayo's shows with Tim and stuff. And, then I'll bring it on more
as the heavy hitter.
I bring it harder on those.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But yeah, and so I was. So if you noticed when we did the show last week, I was a little bit like hesitant at the end. Like I didn't know whether like I should sign out. I was like, I sort of want to talk more. I want to be on the show when Byron's going through all those fucking numbers, so I can like understand it a little bit more. Because I am not like I'm Asian. I'm standing out motherfucker, and math was my worst subject. English and history were my best subjects in high school. I was like the dumb Asian. So like I was such a dumb Korean that like when I went to Virginia Tech, right? I got into Virginia Tech, and there's a Korean student like organization at Virginia Tech, right? And so I mean, they didn't have that at your college. They have it at all colleges.
No, I just know where this is going.
Okay, and so they they go through the freshman names. And any name that sounds Korean, they call, right? I mean, it's not hard. Kim and fucking Lee. What the fuck? Pretty fucking easy. God damn it, right? And then so it's like Kim and Lee, and they called me. And I say hello. They're like, oh, and then they're like, hello, are you Korean? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, do you speak Korean? I'm like, yeah. And so they start speaking Korean to me, and I understand everything I say, and I know what they are. And so I was like, yeah, maybe I join. I went to Korean churches. What? I'll go on to that a little bit later. But then I started talking in Korean, and my Korean enunciation, I'm told that I sound like a Korean redneck. Like if you combine like a redneck and Korean and the way they talk, that's how I talk. Like I don't have the enunciation correct because, I moved away from Korea when I was 3. So I've been in America for 40 years, right? And that back then it was for, 15 years. I was in America. Jesus Christ. How is that long ago? Holy fuck. I remember it like yesterday. What I can't remember. And so I'm talking to them, and there's like a pause. Like, they're like, were you born in Korea? And I was like, yeah, I was born in motherfucking Korea, bitch. What the fuck? And they're like, yeah, give me a second. We'll call you back. Never heard from them again. Never fucking heard from them again because I wasn't like the type of Korean that's like fresh off the boat, motherfucking Korean. After that moment, I started disliking my own. I did growing up in a Korean church also with all the politics and the drama and stuff like that. Like I started disliking Korean people a little bit. Now, not just the people. It's my heritage. The heritage is my heritage. I'm not going to dislike that. But the people that, especially like Korean Americans, especially. And there's like very judgmental. There's almost like a caste system. And if you're not in the right level, you don't get much love from anybody. If you hear what I'm saying, like it's basically politics. Like the top guys help the top guys out, and those top guys. Now, luckily, my dad was a top guy, right? And so I lived in that nature. But then, as I went to college, I got that phone call, and then as I went to college, I was a spoiled brat. Growing up, I went to the third most wealthiest high school in America, judged by MTV. in 1995. And at least the ones that accepted the poll. They did a poll where they sent out stuff and people wrote in like the make and model number they're calling, what high school they went to, and like the people who had the highest average was voted we were the third highest average in America. That's super snooty, super snotty. And that's basically how I grew up. And then, I just thought that was normal. You're in high school. I mean, but then you go to college, you actually learn, you meet new people. You go to college and you meet people from different classes, different points, different avenues and
trees, and
right, and different customs and different cultures, not just from other countries, but from different cities in your own fucking state, right? So one of my best friends I met down there was from Virginia Beach, poor and extremely poor, food stamps, blah 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 blah, and then I learned that, and that's how I sort of shifted my brain and realized that like the Korean people that are in my life and like the people that I went to and like the area that I lived in and like those type of people are not normal, and they're really not good. There are, not all of them, and the way that we think, you know what I'm saying, is skewed because the way we grew up. And you meet all these different types of people and you get this total change of brain. And I have no idea what I'm talking about now. I'm rambling. I ate that edible a while ago, so I'm definitely rambling. So you can stop me at fucking any time. And because I have no point to this other than maybe make sure you go out and meet people that don't think like you, because that really helps you grow in life. And it really helps out. It makes you a better person.
It lets you level the hell up. You need people in your life to do that. And,
how did this conversation start? Where was I going? This is super stoner conversation.
You were trying to chat. It started off hyping up my show, Kenny, and now we're inspiring people, because we were trying to chat about how stupid you were and how you don't understand the numbers and stuff.
Koreans got you.
So, but I do agree. You got to find people in your life, and sometimes the toughest decisions is getting rid of the people that you thought were good for you in your life at one point. And now, it's just not there anymore. So, recently had to do that as well with one of my best buddies. So, tough situations there.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I literally did that a few months ago, and I've been contemplating. I blocked him. He listens to the show, so he's probably going to hear this. One of my best friends in college, right?
College friends.
The thing is,
in particular,
college buddy. He's been going through some shit lately. Everyone goes through shit, right? Hasn't been the best. I attempted to help him. Now let's go back to college and stuff like that. Again, back then I wasn't as level-headed like we were just talking about. I still had sort of a spoiled mentality in my mind. And even though I went to college, it took me, I'm still not over it. I still have issues when it comes to stuff like that. I think I've gotten a lot better in the last 10 years. But still back then I was still really selfish, really, really, really a selfish guy. And that was a part of a lot of my friendships, and I didn't realize it back then. You know what I'm saying? I looking back, I can see that now, but I just didn't realize it back then. And so I wasn't like the greatest friend with him, but he was a very, very good friend back in college. But we were good enough friends where we still kept track with each other. He lived close to me for a few years. We hung out. And then, he moved he moved away, got a daughter. And so he's a beautiful, beautiful baby girl down in the South. But recently, he's been, we chat on the phone. He's one of the few friends that I've actually kept a friend for a long time. I'm really, really bad at that. And I've been trying to get better. And again, it's because of what happened, how I was when I was younger. I was really selfish too. And so he lately has gone through some bad times. He tried to get into like PGA school. It didn't pan out. Like he's been trying different stuff to build himself up and make him better, but it just hasn't been working out. He went to like welder school, become a certified welder, right? But he got a job, but they had to lay him off. And then once he got laid off, it was really hard for him to find work, and he hasn't been working. He's been struggling down there, and that can happen to anybody. Anybody. And so, I gave him a little bit of money gave him a little bit of scratch, not much, not crazy. But he's the type of guy that when he drinks, and I'll say this out loud, brother, I know you're going to hear this. He's not the best person to be around, right? I mean, everyone has friends like that, right? Or when they drink, when they're too much, they are not the people that you want to be around. And the problem with that is if they start drinking a lot, they tend to be that way more often than not, right? And so he was drinking a lot more because he was down, and he would call me hammered and he would berail me about college and stuff like that, which is okay. I wasn't the greatest person, and it was mostly because I wouldn't give him more money. I offered him a job up here. I offered him jobs down in Myrtle Beach where he lives in restaurants, and he wouldn't take it. And so that started making me angry. And he would ask to borrow money, and I'd ask him for what it's for, and he wanted to play DFS. Right? And I was like, and so at that point in time, I said no. And he got real pissed off. I wouldn't, and he was drunk. And he said, I was the worst friend ever. He hates me, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, so we're done. He texted me. He was like, I don't want to. He texted me some mean stuff. And I was like, okay, that's fine. We're done. So I blocked him on everything. And so recently, he's still in one of my fantasy football leagues. And he sent me a message here recently saying he was going through the bad times, which everyone does. And that he's getting better. He's sober for like the last certain amount of time. And so I think I have to go back, right? I have to hit him up, right? I have to, right?
I mean, how many times has it happened?
This is the first time I cut him off.
So then I think
I've been pissing him all the time. But usually it's because he's drunk, but he wasn't as drunk as often as he was in the last couple of years, and it's just sort of built up. But now he knows he was going through a dark time, and I know he was going through a dark time. And now he hit me up with that message. I feel like I have to reach out.
You do, but at the same time, Kenny, there's a moment in time where you have to cut that shit off as well. Like I've said to Mrs. Maniac, like if there's ever a point where I'm drinking and I do anything bad, like lift a hand, insult her, anything, that is the final drink I will ever have. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a zero tolerance. Like drinking is fun and stuff, but you have to have a severe cutoff, and maybe that's how the conversation.
But I understand what you're saying, but it's not that easy for some people. Being someone who's been addicted to things in the past, I mean, like it's not that easy,
right? But sipping here, sipping there, you can't. You got to cut that shit off.
It's a different level if you're addicted to it, for sure.
Yeah,
than just casual.
Yeah. So I guess.
So do you want to talk about your buddy, or are we gonna keep the similar situation?
No, it got pretty deep and pretty dark there for a little bit, but I think the silver lining around this is sometimes, addition by subtraction is what you need in your life, because sometimes you don't realize this person's been in your life for a long time. Sometimes it just takes a big step to kind of, I'm leveled up with you, but now you're not leveling me up anymore. I want you to come with me, invite them with, and if they're not there, then you go. You keep climbing, baby. So,
I'm going to hit him up. He said he found a job. He said he's sober. I got to hit him back up. Because I don't have very many friends that have been with me for 20 plus years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right.
And I think, Kenny, he needs you more than you need him right now, which is a different situation. So
probably correct. You're probably correct. All right. Well, anything else? That was a different type of OT, a little bit more deep.
A
little deep
OT there, but hey, it's football season's coming up. I'm ready for the Jets to break my heart again. I can't wait for that. And
Jay Daniels looks. I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but they are.
He looks good, dude. He looks good. Yeah.
All right. I'm hungry. Let's get the fuck out.
All right. Catch you later.